This trip was all about hearing what Americans out in the heartland had to say about the real issues facing this country. The Pioneer Cafe was the perfect spot to have that conversation.
They need to quit spending money.
Look at our economy, what it was doing, look at the people, the number of jobs, the record, the incredible amount of records that were being set, and just go, well, if that was working then, why can't it work now?
We're a small mom and pop auto body shop, and we've been looking for help since last summer, and we have not been able to hire anybody.
Let me ask you about President Trump. Do you think that he should run again?
Absolutely. When he threw his hat in the ring, I was a little skeptical. I thought, is this a Trojan horse? And I think the sad thing is people have not been able to separate his personal life and personality from what he did as President of the United States. He's probably the best president we've had since Reagan.
We know that the president has signed this Paris Climate Accord. We know that he just came back from the G7, and they're talking about a massive investment to help climate change. Now, of course, we know the Chinese, the Russians, the India, Africa, they're not going to be paying any attention to climate change.
In this state, the state of Texas, it's very negative. There's zero regulation when it comes to renewables. So in terms of where the panels are coming from, how they're made, what sort of ordinances are keeping, the panels from backing up into a neighbor, perhaps, is non-existent.
There are 8 million residential houses in Texas. We have 791 million acres. That's only 0.5% of the acreage to power all the houses in Texas, yet they're doing it in the rural areas in East Texas, and there is a ton of desert, flat lands in West Texas. Why aren't they going over there?
It's very cheap to put a big, massive solar power plant in rural farmland in America, and that's what's going on, whether it's Illinois or Indiana, North Carolina, or Texas. These big solar companies, many of them international from Europe, there's a German company that was here earlier, that have come in and they want to use these tax breaks, the tax break 313 specifically here in the state of Texas, to use that to build a very cheap solar operation and make a ton of money on it.
What's the solution?
From what I understand, there just needs to be more of a grassroots movement to really push back on what's going on in rural Texas.
We have 4 tractors, and what are we going to do with our tractors? Just run them off a cliff? I mean,
Then the conversation turned to the response to COVID-19 and how it almost ended the Pioneer Cafe.
How did you manage it?
I got the PPP loan. And now I got the second one. If I had not been able to get those, I probably would have gone under.
So that was something that the government did right?
Yes.
The PPP program?
Yes. They need to stop the stimulus. They never should have done the stimulus. They need to stop the extra unemployment. People aren't going to go back to work if they can sit on their butt and make more money than they would at a job. But I'm very blessed. I have fabulous people. And when I got ready to open the restaurant, I prayed and I said, Lord, if you think this is a good idea, open all the doors for me. If not, slam them shut in my face because I'm a hard learner.
Well, it's obviously been a good idea.
He opened door after door after door.
Leave me with something positive.
I love this country. I was very sad when my husband died, but I know there's a reason I'm still here. So I keep putting one foot in front of the other and making the best of it.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.